Do you know how it feels to literally die and come back? If you don't, I'm glad. And you don't want to. I'm gonna tell you right now, I did not come to play with you today. I did not come to sugarcoat. I came to give you a whole warning. You already know what it is, which is why you should take what I'm saying very seriously. At this point, it's not a joke anymore, and it can literally cost you the rest of your years. If that's what you want, then I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not the video for you, and I am not the coach for you. Because I want you to live your best life. I want you to fulfill the destiny that God put you here for. But if you don't want that for yourself, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing no other creator can say. There's nothing no prophet can tell you. There's nothing that your family can do for you. That is a decision you have to make for yourself. That is a reality that you have to accept for yourself. And the person that this is for, I know that you know it already. I know that you have been ignoring your confirmations. I know that you have been backsliding, because that is why God gave me this dream. This is a gift I do not speak about often, because I know for a lot of people it won't be received well. God gave this assignment to the right person. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how anybody perceives me. I know who I am. And that is what you don't. And that is why you do the things that you do. And I'm not about to play with you, okay? So even if you play with yourself, I'm not. I'm gonna give it to you real. I know I'm being repetitive right now, but you are the type of person that needs that repetition. Or else you would have got it together the first time that you've been presented with this, but you didn't. So now you're gonna get it for real, because this is your final warning. Oh, God. So I'm going to tell you about this dream God gave me. A very, very frequently asked question. Why did Lot's wife turn into a pillar of salt? And it's not what you thought it was. It's not what we heard in church. I'm going to get into that for a minute. Because growing up, I just never got into church. Other Christians don't come for me. Okay, I'm speaking my truth, which is what you need to do. I'm going to hold off on you right now. This is for the woman that's watching this. I could not get into the God in the sky. It never resonated with me. I mean, they made it seem like I was the worst child ever. Okay, honey, I got baptized twice. I looked. I went through so much in my life looking for this God outside of me. Okay? It wasn't until I hit rock, and I mean rock bottom, that I found out where God really is. I want to tell you, but I'm not sure if you're ready for it. That's something that's going to have to come to you, because like I said, you are stubborn. So it doesn't matter if I say it. This is something that you have to receive on your own. God is within. You don't believe that for some odd reason. I don't know why, but if you don't listen, trust me, you will. And it's not going to be pretty. Now, if you watch any of my other videos, you know I'm a very happy, bubbly person. But this message that God put on my spirit is not a joke. It ain't a joke, honey. And I can tell you, as somebody who survived some unimaginable things, that it ain't a joke. And it should not take for you to get to that point. It should not. Because a lot of people get to that point and they don't make it back. Do you know how it feels to literally die and come back? If you don't, I'm glad. And you don't want to. Because like I said, a lot of people do not come back. And that's not where I was going with this. But one thing about me is I always let God flow to and through me. I let the message flow to and through me. When I'm opening my mouth, it is God. I don't just say stuff because it sounds cute. I don't just say stuff because it's nice. I don't just say stuff because I want to go viral. I say it because you need it. Okay? So you can take it or you cannot. Like I said, I can't control that, but I know that I can be obedient and I can do what I'm supposed to do. And what I'm about to do is tell you about this dream, because that dream was so confusing to me in the moment. I felt so many different emotions. I'm like, God, what is going on? I actually posted about this dream on my Facebook page, and a lot of women resonated with it. I mean, it got way bigger than I thought it would. And I put in the comments, I said, if you would love for me to make a YouTube video about this, because I think that I need to make a YouTube video about this, because obviously you might not have me on Facebook, baby girl, but you're here, and I gotta put the message where you are, because you're not open and receptive to it. You see what I mean by it's just coming. This is not me. Okay, this is for you. You have not been open and receptive. So even if it was on Facebook, you wouldn't have received it. You are here and I am coming to where you are. And that is what God said. God will always meet you exactly where you are, but you have not been listening. And you are carrying so much right now. And trust me, girl, I know. You got me about to cry. I don't know what it is. But you need to get your power back. You cannot go back. Oh my God. What? Right now? Like, my makeup is cute. All right, we're back. What was that? Yeah, I'm a rapper on that low, if you ain't know. You see what I mean? It's just bars on bars on bars. Okay. I said this wasn't a jokey video, but this is just my personality. And girl, I gotta lay in the mood because I'm about to cry for you right now. Not the makeup. We gotta get you together. You're not about to have me over here emotional. But you cannot go back. And now I can get into my dream breakdown because I think you got it. And I think you're ready to listen. And I am here to deliver. I'm going to take you through the dream, and then we're going to really break it down and get in deep. But I want you to pick up what you pick up throughout the dream. Literally write it down right now. You want to know why? Because when we go to unpack it, it's going to answer some questions that you've had within yourself. And that voice, pay attention to where it's coming from. Pay attention to how it makes you feel. Because that is God. That is the same God that you have been ignoring. So we are about to discover the God within you together right now, and wow. All right. He got me turning into a preacher, Lord. All right, let's go. I hope you're ready. Don't take a mental note, baby. Write it down. Pen and a paper, wherever you are. I don't care if you're writing on a receipt. Write it down. The tent. I was in an unfamiliar area. I had a tent. It was skinny. It was slim. Like my sauna. Taller than a fridge, but slimmer. Enough room to stand, not really sit, not stretch your legs, and definitely not enough room to breathe. The tent was outside. Why it was outside, I don't know. Ask God. But it felt safe. I believe that tent represented safety because, like I said, I was in an unfamiliar area. The first thing I wanted in my dream was my tent. So I unzipped the tent and I looked inside and I was gonna go in there, and something in me said, no, you need to go into the building. Went to my left, and then I was inside of this building. I'm uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar. I hear people, I don't know where they're coming from. Everything in me wanted to get up in that tent. It wanted to get in my safety net. That's where you want to go, and that's where you've been going back to, but it's not safe for you there. Remember, I just said it's not enough room to really breathe. There's no room to stretch. There's no room to go. There's no room to sit down and lay down, but you're there. You're in a tight, enclosed, safe space, and it makes you feel safe. But it is an illusion of safety. That's really everything that you use to cope with, but you cannot carry it. I'm gonna get into the carrying portion in a minute because I did something in my dream that really confused me. Now I understand. Saunas are meant for healing and detoxing. That's where you go when you need a detox, you need to unwind. But I need you to understand that your safe space is not keeping you safe anymore. It is suffocating you. It is keeping you small. You have outgrown that. And the problem is you want to hold on to it. Remember, I just mentioned carrying. So now we're about to get into it. I went inside of a building. Now I'm even more uncomfortable. I'm in unfamiliar territory and I don't have my tent. I had to leave the tent. I run into some old friends, right? So I'm over here like, okay, these are my old friends. I'm supposed to be comfortable with them, but something in me was just so uncomfortable. I just was unsettled. I'm with these women. We're in an elevator. The elevator took us down. We get down. I'm in another open space. I hear them talking. I hear them giggling. I notice they're clicked up to each other. We're walking. I don't know where I'm walking. So now I don't have my tent. My old friends aren't who I thought they were because they don't represent friends, okay? They actually represent thoughts, patterns, habits, and things that no longer serve you. That's why they were talking about me. That's why they were laughing at me. And that's why I felt even more uncomfortable, because I'm trying to be who I was, but that is not who I am, and that is you right now. But I'm gonna keep on navigating through the dream, and then we're gonna unpack it. I'm just saying what you need to hear as you need to hear it, okay? Like I said, make sure you have your notes, make sure you're writing down your thoughts, and make sure you're writing down the key points that stand out to you. I'm gonna keep telling you that because we already got through the part that you're a little bit hard-headed, baby. Write it down, okay? The more I roamed around the building, the more I realized that it was somewhere I've been before, but I couldn't place it. It was a place that was supposed to feel familiar to me. It didn't. We met up with some other old friends. They were talking, they were laughing, they were just watching me. They were pointing at me, and I didn't understand. It became so uncomfortable that I ran, because then they started to chase me. They made me feel uncomfortable. I'm gonna keep saying that because I can tell that I wasn't where I was supposed to be at, and I can tell that that place that I went back to was not safe. Key point here, that place that you were trying to go back to because you think that's where you need to be is not safe for you. I have a real world example for you at the end of this. I didn't want to talk about this, but you need to hear it, because I need to connect a dream to something real that really happened in real life for you to get it. I was running. I got in the elevator, and this time I was going up. I still heard them. It made me uncomfortable. The elevator was moving fast. I just wanted to get out. I'm like, why are they whispering and I still hear them? Why is it so quiet but so loud at the same time? Where is the exit? I get off of the elevator. It was uncomfortable, and I kept running. I run out. I wanted to get my tent. I unzipped the tent. I was gonna get in the tent, but it wasn't safe. I was like, they're coming for me. If I go in the tent, they're still going to be able to get me because it is small. It is not safe anymore. But for some reason, I didn't want to let go of the tent. I saw my Tesla. Now, the Tesla was small. I mean, smaller than me. And I still opened the trunk, and I'm still trying to stuff this tent into the trunk, and it's not fitting. That safe space, that thing, that coping mechanism cannot go with you where you are going. You cannot keep on dragging around dead weight. It couldn't fit. I'm trying to stuff it in, it couldn't fit. And I said, all right, to heck with it. They're coming. I squeezed myself in the car, and I started to drive. And like I said, the Tesla was small, but the more I drove, the more it started to grow. It started to grow around me. I wasn't squeezed in and boxed in and uncomfortable anymore. I started to feel better. I'm like, okay, I have some room. So I'm driving, and then my GPS glitched. So I'm putting in the address of where I want to go, and it kept trying to take me back there. The place I just came from, the place I was running from, the place where I didn't fit anymore. The place that was literally trying to destroy me. That is where the GPS tried to take me back to. And I said, no, what's going on with this thing? I looked up, and I was in such a nice neighborhood. And I'm looking around, and my spirit said, just keep going. You know where to go. That was God. He said, do not go back there. Keep going. You know where to go. Forget the GPS. At that point, I was relying on sheer faith and knowing and trusting my inner self. I said, I'm not going there. I don't live there anymore. Like I said, I didn't even have my kids in that dream, girl. Don't ask me where they was. They was somewhere, okay? I guess that was just a dream for me, just like how this is just a message for you. We'll talk about them kids and them family members later. Right now, this is between us. Focus. Your focus is slipping. Come on back. Now, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just keep going. Everything grew around me. The neighborhood was better. My home was better. The atmosphere was better. My car was full size. It was moving fast enough. It went from nighttime to daytime. You catch that? It went from dark when I was in that place to daytime. That has a heavy significance. And as I'm still driving, God said to me, you asked why Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. I did. And that was why. It wasn't because she was just disobedient and she was just being punished. It was because she was torn. There was a tug of war going on in her spirit. She had so many connections to the old life. She didn't want to let it go. And now I'm going to start unpacking the dream from the beginning and what everything meant. And then I'm going to go into Lot's wife and comparing it, okay? I already touched on the tent and what it was. It was a safe place. You can no longer stay there. The old friends were thoughts, patterns, situations. I'm going to keep people in there because the thoughts, the feelings, the habits, the patterns, and to an extent, yes, some people. And I'm going to stop right here, right? Because as I was changing and as I was really becoming the woman that I was always meant to be, I would find myself in old territories and old familiar places, which is why the dream technically unfolded the way it did. I had a few dreams that were similar. I'm going to unpack them at a later date in a different video. This is specifically about a Bible verse that happened in real time, in a real dream. So I'm mentioning people because there's some people that you get around and you keep sliding into your old self. You keep sliding into your old habits. Keep doing things you don't usually do. I'll use me for an example. I don't smoke, right? But once upon a time I did. Once upon a time I was a heavy drinker. When I was younger, when I was depressed, when I was stressed, and I just didn't care about life, I used to do all those things. So then I would try to keep attachments and keep those people in my life who still did those things, and I felt the disconnect. See, even though they were people I had history with, I built relationships with, they no longer fit, we no longer fit. And it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't because, oh, they're this and I'm that. No, it was just because I outgrew that phase. You outgrew that phase and you were shrinking yourself and you don't even know it. You're thinking that you're not changing and shrinking who you are to fit into these situations, and you are. It's not helping you grow. That's not where I was going, but you needed to hear that clearly. So now, the elevator. Remember, I told you the people, the thoughts, the things, the habits, the situations were mocking me. They were taunting me. Who she thinks she is. You're right, you can never get rid of us. That's the vibes it was giving. And I'm just like, no, like this doesn't feel right. I got in the elevator. Now I'm in the elevator by myself. That is ascension. Not everyone and everything can come with you. Who you were cannot come with you. Those things you used to do cannot come with you. And that is why you keep wanting your tent. You don't like change. It is uncomfortable for you. And to an extent, it's not your fault. We are wired that way as beings. But that is not how it's supposed to be. And this is where God comes in. This is where the Holy Spirit comes in. You are not doing it alone, and you think you're doing it alone, and that is the problem. Remember, I told you growing up, I'm always looking outside of me for this God in the sky. God was there the whole time. God is the one who brought you through that situation. God is the one who protected you that night. God is the one who protected you in that time. You over there like, how she know what the heck? I don't know. God gave it to me. Okay, take it up with the Lord. It was God there that whole time. This is oddly specific. But let's keep going. The elevator was ascension. It was uncomfortable. It was unfamiliar. And it was fast. Because as soon as I decided I was not staying in that place, things just started to move fast. The elevator moved fast. I get out. I want to take the tent. The tent didn't fit. I couldn't take it with me. The Tesla was small. But I was determined to leave that place. It wasn't safe anymore. And quite frankly, I believe if I stayed, girl, please, bye. Just kiss the business model goodbye. So, key point, I made a decision. I decided I wasn't staying, and it didn't matter how I was getting up out of there, but baby, I had to get up out of there. Okay. And to an extent, that's how you're feeling right now. But If fear is crippling you, that is what happened to Lot's wife. Ooh, all right, let me hurry up. Remember, I said the car was small, but as I squeezed up in it anyway, and I was determined, I'm like, yeah, the car is small, but it's gonna take me where I need to go. Your faith, it will always take you where you need to go. I've mentioned in other videos, just make the decision. The how will reveal itself. You're gonna notice as you watch my videos and you stick around, because now I already know you're part of the Glow Collective, baby. You ain't going nowhere. We locked in. But that's beside the point. The how figured itself out. I just made that decision. I got in the car and I drove. I said, this vehicle is gonna take me where I need to go. It might not be that fast right now because it's small. It might not be that comfortable right now because it's small, but it is moving with me. And like I said, as I got in the car and kept going away from the thoughts, away from the patterns, away from the tent, away from the baggage, I had nothing with me. I had nothing with me but me and God. And my small car that turned big. I had to leave it. You have to leave it. You have to leave it. You have to leave it. Okay? Yeah, the car started to grow around me. Yeah, I was in a way better area. Yeah, it was daytime now. Before it was full daytime, the GPS starts glitching. It's trying to reroute me. It's telling me I'm going the wrong way. It's telling me to turn around. That is your programming. That is you being in survival mode. That is your body and your nervous system recognizing that you are in unfamiliar territory. It's trying to pull you back to the chaos. It wants you to be safe, whatever that illusion of safe was. And you got to think about it. That was all you knew. That was all I knew. That place, the ghetto. My situation, it tried to take me back to the Bronx. Baby, I wasn't in the Bronx no more. I'm not even from the Bronx, but a lot of significant things happened in my life in the Bronx. Even though I'm from Brooklyn, okay? Don't get it confused. It was trying to take me back to the comfort zone, to all I knew. And God said, no, you know where you're going. It's going to be okay. So I made another decision and I kept going. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know how I was getting there, but apparently it was in me. Your subconscious knows. Your higher self knows, and she is tired of your BS. Okay? Because at this point, baby, you leading her on. But that's another topic for another video. Back to Lot's wife. This is where it all ties in. She turned to a pillar of salt because she looked back with longing. She chose her stance. She chose to stay stuck in that system, in that circumstance. She became paralyzed with fear at the thought of moving forward. That is why she crystallized. She preserved herself in that. She was unable to move forward. She was stuck in the very thing that was destroying her, that was set to be destroyed. That is the problem. She rejected the promise of going forward. She didn't listen to her inner knowing. She didn't listen to God. Like I said, I'm gonna break this down at a later date. You know, I ain't gonna go in on you right now because it might be a lot. The point is, she became crystallized in fear. That is why she turned into a pillar of salt. She became stuck. And I say this because if you choose, whatever you choose, it will become your life. That is what that means. Change your mind and change your life. It is not a game. People do not live forever. You only get so many chances. But when you change your mind, you're not worried about the how. You're not worried about the when. You're not worried about the who. You just know that you are not staying there. Everything will fall into place, but you will perish if you do not. And for me, that dream was a confirmation, because guess what I did? I kept going. You have two different scenarios here. I kept going because that's what I did when I was in that situation. I said, no, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know who, but I do know I'm not doing that. And that is a decision that you did not make, and you are dibbling and dabbling, and baby, it is costing you. And you are running out of time. Damn, I didn't want to put it like that. But I said I was going to keep it real because I do and I am. And don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself. And I don't mean beat yourself up. Get tired of that old version. Get tired of that limiting stuff. Get tired of that old circumstance and be uncomfortable. That is what is going to drive your change. That is when you're really going to hear God. That is when you're going to lean into your inner knowing. That is when you're going to lean into your faith. And you're going to say, you know what, God, I'm doing this with you. I know who I am. And I'm going to do it. Whew. Now, if you made it to this point, baby, drop a diamond and put a I am not Lot's wife anymore in the comments. You need the workbook, okay? Now, the workbook was $25. If you didn't get it when it was $25, yeah. If you did get it when it was $25, baby, kudos to you. You got to clear those mindset blocks. It took me years. I said I was going to get into a situation I didn't want to get into, a real life one. I was in an abusive relationship. I barely mention it, but it's looking like now is the time for me to speak about it because you need this. You might not be in an abusive relationship, but just listen to the message. I was in an abusive relationship. I got out. Right? I went to a domestic violence shelter. It was uncomfortable. It was unfamiliar. I didn't like it. I had a roommate. Her kids didn't like my kids. We didn't really get along. It was uncomfortable. I hated it. I felt weird. Now, let me tell you something about dysfunctional, toxic relationships. Because remember, you can be in a relationship with a circumstance, a person, a thought, anything. So I'm going to leave it as relationship. When it is all you know, it is what you return to. It is what you have a trauma bond with. My kids hated it. They were missing school. I hated it. And I went back to my house because I was stubborn. And I said, I'm not going to let XYZ run me out my house. And I went back. Long story short, I went back and said person literally tried to unalive me because I told said person that they could not be here anymore. You know, I tried. I did the best with what I knew how. Keeping it simple, it's low-key a trigger warning. It was just me and my son was at school, so you know. Said person broke into the house and tried to unalive me. Right? And it was real bad. I mean, I got really hurt. And you want to know why? Because I went back. Stop going back. It's not worth it. Yeah, that's your house. Yeah, that's all you know. Yeah, you feel entitled to it, but it is not safe anymore. And you know what? That's all I got for you today. This call done got long enough, girl. All right. I need you to sit with that. Remember that thing I told you to write down? Those things I told you to write down? You hear that voice, don't you? Remember that. That's where God is. But until next time, babe, I will see you in my next video. And get your workbook. I'm tired of telling you to get your workbook. It's in the description. Later, I love you. Bye.